President, are you and Prime Minister Netanyahu on the same page concerning how to deal with Iran?
Well, we get along very well, and I will tell you that I think we have great respect for each other.
Can you give us
Go ahead, what?
Mr. President, can you give us a sense of what you're doing to try to de-escalate the situation between Iran and Israel?
Well, I hope there's going to be a deal. I think it's time for a deal, and we'll see what happens. But sometimes they have to fight it out, but we're going to see what happens. I think there's a good chance there'll be a deal.
Have you asked Israel to pause their airstrikes into Iran?
Well, I don't want to say that.
Mr. President, can you support the defense of Israel? Will the U.S. continue to support Israel in its defense?
We do, yeah. Thank you very much, everybody.
We can't have the world's most dangerous regime have the world's most dangerous weapons. We're protecting ourselves, but by doing so, we're protecting many others. The intel we got and we shared with the United States was absolutely clear. Was absolutely clear that they were working in a secret plan to weaponize the uranium. They were marching very quickly. They would achieve a test device and possibly an initial device within months and certainly less than a year. That was the intel we shared with the United States. Could certainly be the result because the Iran regime is very weak. I think it's basically left with two things. It's plans to have atomic bombs and ballistic missiles. That's basically what Iran has. They certainly don't have the people. 80% of the people will throw these theological thugs out. I mean, they murder them. They oppress them for 46 years. They've yearned for freedom. And you know, the Persian people and the Jewish people have had an ancient friendship. Goes back to the times of Cyrus the Great. It could happen again, but they attacked their chief nuclear scientists working. It's like Hitler's nuclear scientists. Would you leave them? Of course not. We attacked their top command. I can inform you, Brett, that moments ago, we also got the chief intelligence officer and his deputy in Tehran because we're now over the skies of Tehran. And obviously we informed our American friends and President Trump, our great friend, ahead of time. We did. He knew about it, of course. Actually, there's so many false reports of conversations that never happened, and I'm not going to get into that. But I can tell you, I think that we do what we need to do. We'll do what we need to do, and I think the United States knows what is good for the United States, and I'm just not going to get it.
Okay.
That.
The White House, the U.S. has been watching these strikes that Clarissa just laid out so closely over the past few days, but President Trump, for now, does not want the U.S. to enter the fray. Of course, the U.S. has been providing some defensive support to Israel, efforts to block those missiles that are incoming, but we've learned that the president did reject a plan by the Israelis to assassinate Iran's supreme leader, according to a U.S. official. Now, a second senior U.S. official tells me that Israel had an opportunity to kill the Ayatollah this weekend. President Trump communicated that he did not want them to go forward with that, and it ultimately was not executed. Israeli officials say that these reports are false, we should note. But President Trump does not want a prolonged conflict here. He does not want the U.S. embroiled in another war in the Middle East. He's also acutely aware of some of the tensions within his own party and shifting attitudes toward that. But sources familiar with the matter tell CNN that Israel has spoken with the U.S. about the possibility of getting further involved. Now, there are some in this Trump administration that recognize that U.S. involvement could help Israel achieve its objectives more quickly, and Trump himself has left the door open to U.S. involvement. In a phone interview earlier today with ABC News' Rachel Scott, he said, quote, "We're not involved in it. It's possible we could get involved, but we are not at this moment involved." Now, in that same interview, he told Scott that Russian President Vladimir Putin could play a mediating role and he might be open to that.
مبنای اسلامیمون نمیخوایم طرف سلا بریم، ولی اگر این نبود و میخواستیم بریم جلوش نمیدونست. نیروهای مسلح ما در دو سه شب قبل هم یک کار کاملا قانونی و مشروع.
این در ورودیه دیگه. بیا بابا.
אמרתי לכם, יהיו ימים קשים, אבל יש גם ימים גדולים.
There's going to be a deal. I think it's time for a deal, and we'll.
偷偷告诉大家，我最近发现了新法宝 Royal Face 逆时奇迹系列，它有活肤露、全效精华，还有精华霜。尤其我皮肤比较偏干，所以我非常的注重保湿。保湿做得好，肌肤自然烹饪。提亮肤色更年轻，抚平皱纹超有感，而且气色变好。用心保养，每天都更美丽。美吧。